Okay, welcome to our ForeFront show. My name is Jeremy Fojut. I am a co-founder of NEWaukee. I am joined by my co-host, Alexa. Alexa, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alexa Alfaro. I am one of the co-founders of Meat on the Street. We are a Filipino food truck and restaurant in the greater Milwaukee area.
Excellent. And we do this program periodically really to talk to small business owners and community, I guess, lamplighters in the community around what they're building, and then also about the community itself. So the kind of the neighborhood that they belong in. And we've been spotlighting different neighborhoods each time we do this, and different small businesses and creators and kind of innovators as we go along. The program is brought to you by Ginger Lazovik, who will join us in a short time from Shorewest Realtors, and then North Shore Bank as well. So first, I'd like to kick us off and talk, have everybody introduce themselves and just give a focus on what you do in the Shorewood neighborhood, because that's our focus area today, and then talk about what you do and what you're building in the community. And I'll start with you, Steph.
Hey everyone, so I'm Steph Salvia. I am the Business Improvement District Director for Shorewood. I started at the very end of February, right in time for COVID. So I've been in the bid world, however, I was at Brady Street Business District 12 years before coming to Shorewood. Was just interested in making a change, and I love Shorewood's business district. It's pretty vibrant, and I wanted to bring some fun ideas to Shorewood.
And how about you, Anne?
My name is, bonjour, my name is Anne Leplae. I'm the Executive Director of the Alliance Française de Milwaukee, a local nonprofit promoting French language and culture. And I live and work in Shorewood. I grew up in Shorewood, and I raised my daughter in Shorewood. And the Alliance Française is located on the corner of Capitol Drive and Oakland Avenue.
Pat, why don't you go next?
My name is Pat Algiers, and I'm the owner and founder of Chemistry in Place. I live, work, and play in Shorewood, and Chemistry in Place is called Chemistry in Place because good design is chemistry in place.
And Tink, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, my name is Christopher Tinker. Everyone calls me Tink, and I've been in the Shorewood community working here since 2000. Since I was 21, 22, and actually opened our own restaurant in 2011, right when the Packers won the Super Bowl.
And what's the restaurant for everybody?
The restaurant is a Three Lions pub, and it's should do some shameless tagging right now.
This is about shameless plug in this whole program.
Yeah, and it's located on the 4500 block of Oakland Avenue.
Cool. Well, now that we kind of know about everyone, let's just start with maybe telling us a little bit about for people that, you know, some of the people at RCP aren't from Shorewood, or maybe don't live, work, or play in that area. Can maybe start with you, and tell someone what it's like to live, work, and play in Shorewood, and what the city offers. Because it's obviously in the last 15, 20 years went through some pretty radical change from what I remember when I lived in the east side to where it is now.
All right, well, I'm going to go way, way back. So probably the first European to set foot in Shorewood was a French man, Pierre Marquette, paddling his canoe up Lake Michigan. And actually the original— I
didn't know we were going to go that far back.
Yeah. The original spelling of the state is O-U-I-S-C-O-N-S-I-N. They took the Indian word, and it was spelled this way for over 100 years. Otherwise, Shorewood has a real European feel. It's dense, it's walkable. You can easily walk from your home to the restaurant or to do your shopping. So we really promote that. And what I think is what is incredible about Shorewood is it's exactly the name. You've got the shore and you've got the trees, the wood. It's got everything. I mean, it's peaceful. You've got nature. It's cool in the summer. It's a little bit warm in the winter. It's got great restaurants, great neighbors, great schools. I think it's a fantastic neighborhood to live and work in.
And Tink, some of the things around small business, I mean, like obviously you decided to open a business there, and you could probably, you could open a Three Lions pub in a lot of different places. It's become, you've built like a really good community around your business as well. Can you tell us about why you started the business, why you started there, and what you see in the community?
So funnily enough, we kind of were going through school, and we were kind of paying our way through school, working in this area. It was the Britain originally. Went back, continues getting a master's degree, and just was in love with the Shorewood area. It was starting to grow. Like I mentioned before, it's all very walkable, very community driven. And it just seemed like it was the right fit, because we were looking in different places. We were looking in Cedarburg, we were looking around Meckham, downtown, the east side. And it was something that we knew because we'd done it, and we felt that there was a different relationship that we could even nurture even further, because we knew the kind of clientele and who was in the Shorewood community. So it just seemed like the perfect fit.
Steph, we've been lucky enough to partner with Shorewood on a couple of events. One of them was this past year. They did like a street market festival, and I heard nothing but rave reviews from the community. Can you tell us why you guys chose to do that? Was it the first one, and what do you see happening moving forward?
Right, so that was the feast. That was last summer. That was the first one they ever did. I wasn't with the business district at the time yet, but I went twice. I went in the morning to check to see if they needed any volunteers. And then I went again later in the evening to listen to all the music and, eat a bunch of food and have some drinks and all that kind of fun stuff. So that was one of the things that excited me about joining the business district, because my favorite thing is events. And I thought, how amazing is this, and how can I make this better? This year we still are kind of undecided as if we're going to be able to have that, just given the current situation with the pandemic. We would love to if we could, but we're also realistic about whether or not that can happen. So we'll see it happens.
Pat, you've been a part of some placemaking projects that are kind of truly unique in Shorewood. Can you talk about some of the things you've created there?
I've been with Shorewood Public Art for about a dozen years, and the first placemaking project we really created was Placemaking on the lake, and we did that to honor what Ann was talking about, the shore, the water. That became, or is, a bookend to another one. I headed up the Ghost Train. The Ghost Train is the bookend to the Placemaking, and it is near the border between Milwaukee and Shorewood. Another placemaking project is Signaling History, which Public Art Shorewood is in process of doing. It's 11 single signal boxes that are each taken over by an artist. And what's really interesting about it is it really celebrates the fact that Shorewood is a walkable and walking community, because the placement of them encourages you alone or with your family or with others to walk from one to the other, and to understand the rich history of Shorewood, because each one of those boxes speaks to it. Some of the things that Ann was talking about. Now, that being said, one of the fun facts that I love about Shorewood is it's 1.5 square miles, the most densely populated area in the state of Wisconsin, and it was designed geniusly. It is amazing, because the central business district is a cruciform. It's Capitol and Oakland, and all those places like Three Lions, like Cloud Red, Stone Creek, Collectivo, City Market, are grounded in that cruciform district of storefronts. And what is particularly interesting about the storefront concept is that, we're all here spinning on COVID, and storefronts could very well be our future. It's not a high rise. It's not an elevator. You pull up, you go through one door, you're out. These storefronts open up. So I think Shorewood is of the past, but Shorewood is constantly looking to the future, and this could be one key to it.
Awesome. Tink, being a restaurant owner, can you talk about how the current climate with everything has like affected your business or anyone else's business in the area, but also what the community has done to rally behind you?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, it's been disastrous, part of the world for everybody right now. So we've just been doing our thing to try and encourage people to keep supporting us. We actually consolidated our resources and shut down our other restaurant to try and bring the staff together that we could employ. And we released what we call war bonds, and it was like you buy $100 in gift cards, you get $20 additional spend. And the feedback we got on that was amazing. People were buying them right off the bat. Unfortunately, now we've got to cash them in, so that sucks. But
I was wondering when's the appropriate time to use my gift cards that everybody keeps buying me, and I'm like, I don't, it's just not appropriate right now.
No, go right away. Just overspend on what you would have done.
Okay,
so
perfect.
you got the $50, go and spend $65. Right? We still love to see your face, and it was great to get the support of the community, and we dragged along and kept together as a team, and we're still fighting. So it's good.
So should Milwaukee annex Shorewood? No, I'm kidding. That's not my question. Just try to throw that one in there and see what kind of reaction I get. I guess I'm always curious about the change in the process. And I believe you've been there for a long time and seen a lot of change. Who are the people in the community that have pushed forward the change, besides the people in the room here that are pushing it forward right now and have had contributed to some of them in the past, but what has the last 15 years looked like, and who are some of those key players?
I've been with the organization for over 20 years. One big change that I've seen is that we've shifted from being France-centered to being Francophone, so focusing on other countries that speak French, which in large part in Milwaukee is going to be people from Canada and especially people from West Africa. So the immigrant population in Milwaukee has been a real strength for us. And we work quite a bit with the public schools, especially the French immersion school, which is really in the heart of Milwaukee. And that we find that our strength really comes from working with youth. And then as far as Shorewood is concerned, I think what I've seen is the whole foodie culture. Just Shorewood and Milwaukee in general. My parents moved here in the late 60s, and it was pretty dismal. You could get Folgers, Wonder Bread, and sliced cheese and Gallo wine, and that was it. So in the past couple of decades, Milwaukee and Shorewood have become such a foodie scene.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
With that being said, Steph, where do you see the opportunities in Shorewood for business? If someone, watching has a business idea, do you think that Shorewood is missing any type of industry or category, or there could be more of something in the area?
Well, we
Things
have
like don't say restaurants.
There's enough of them moving in.
I don't know if when you kind of stroll through or walk through Shorewood, I don't know that people realize that there's 200 businesses in our district.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some really kind of unique spots. And, of course, we're always looking to add things that would add even more character to the village. We have the Lake Effect Surf Shop, which is just a riot, because surfing in Wisconsin don't think about that. We have Children's Play Cafe. We have lots of retail. We have a huge focus on wellness. So we have, over 30 places that focus on wellness, like acupuncturists and chiropractors. We have 10 dentists, so you can get your teeth done. We're really, really well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, always looking for, a special niche market, things that will make us stand out even more than we do already.
Pat, I just love your kind of perspective on placemaking and talking about the I guess, more of the infrastructure and how the city's positioned. It's positioned through a lake and a river. What do you feel could be added, not from a business standpoint, but what you think Shorewood needs more of?
The funny thing about Shorewood is so much is hidden in plain sight. All those things that Steph said, there are 34 salons and nail salons. There are 10 dentists. There are a lot of food and beverage. There are graphic artists. There are filmmakers. There are writers. Someone across the street from me lives here 6 months of the year, and he lives in LA 6 months of the year. He writes film scripts. Like, who knew? So the biggest challenge is uncovering what is hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to storefronts that we know the name of the accountant or the financial advisor or whatever, and we drive by and we see that and say, oh, isn't that interesting? In addition to that, and especially now because of COVID, we have hundreds and hundreds of people who are working out of their homes, who are extremely creative. They're entrepreneurs, they're well educated, they're well connected, but once again, they're hidden in plain sight. So that's why before I brought up what I think is our key to the future. And I think our key to the future is to do an audit or an inventory of all storefronts and figure out a way where these people who are now working out of their homes or their business isn't that well known can have like a touchdown pad or a safe place to go in where they connect and they find out who each other is, and then they refer business or do business together and just grow what's here and people don't know is here.
I'm really happy you guys didn't say a Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
Got it. Take note.
Chick-fil-A's in Shorewood. With that being said, so there, I know there's a co-working space is kind of what you're talking about, right, Pat, or something open like that?
I'm talking about a co-working space, but for instance, I walked down Oakland yesterday, trying to, get my head together for this, and saw the old ice cream shop that was vacant, and I'm like, there are really large tech companies, say in the Third Ward or elsewhere, that other people are working out of their houses and they're saying, well, why do I need to lease something? Mm-hmm. My thought was, well, maybe that's who we should go after. These tech companies of 25 or 15 who've deployed their workers to their houses, but they still kind of need to get together at some time. So maybe they lease 1,500 or 2,500 and have a semblance of a conference room and some hoteling stations that they can clean down after use, so that they have a physical presence, first level storefront, easy to get in and out of and kind of risk-free, but makes them part of a community.
And then after they walk over to Three Lions and talk about real business, right?
Exactly. And that is such an excellent point, Jeremy, because what's old is new again. And that's what people did. They would go to the corner bar. And I think we are set up completely and totally to reinvent the past in a future way.
Mm-hmm. Tink, you probably know so many different community members that come in that are really like, maybe not community organizers, but the people like pushing Shorewood forward that come into your bar all the time. Can you tell any stories you have about people that are doing really interesting things that you can uncover that come into your place? I wouldn't say maybe they're regulars, but you've seen them more than once. You know their name.
No.
Like PG stories.
There's stories all the time, and people are trying to get innovative and do different things. And obviously, these people that come in and even ask about opinions about starting a restaurant or different. I won't speak, but there's talk about opening different businesses in the area. And sometimes they seek me out, and actually we go on over, have a conversation. There's so many inspirational people in Shorewood, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of great things. Obviously, it's a bit tough to get off the ground right now. But I've got plenty of stories. I'll tell you at the pub one time.
Awesome.
And you mentioned that the business has been around for over 100 years, correct?
Right.
Can you talk about kind of like the highs and lows that you've been through with the company and the community of Shorewood?
So our, this is a little before my time, our organization was founded in 1918 on Milwaukee Downer College campus, which is now UWM. And coincidentally, that was the last global pandemic with the Spanish flu. But basically we suffer when the entire country suffers. So the whole Freedom Fry thing didn't last long, but that was kind of painful.
That was a weird one, huh?
Yeah, that was a really weird one, and they were pouring wine down the gutter.
Yeah.
But definitely the recession of 08, 09, things were hard in 2005 when Katrina hit. So I would say anytime there's a real downturn in the economy, things hurt. I have to say one high point, I don't know if we're talking about high point, was
how does business keep going? That's important.
Yeah, well, we had a really fun event in the fall of 2019. We all went to Three Lions Pub to watch the Bucks play in Paris, and that was really fun. And it's always fun to do something French that's not academic, that kind of, is outside the box. The same thing when there's France is winning the World Cup and it's on a big screen in the middle of Oakland Avenue and everybody's cheering.
I bet you love that.
So those are really the high points, and especially when it's outside of studying French, etc., and people kind of get it.
More of a social cultural event.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But culture comes in all different ways. So there's everything's okay with us. So. And
you're moving Bastille Days to Oakland Avenue? Is that? No, just making up a bunch of rumors here today.
That's a good idea.
But
that's been hard. I have to say one of the silver lining is that we March 14th, we closed our doors to the public and we moved everything online. Obviously, it's much nicer to see people face to face, but as soon as you go on Zoom or online, as we can tell right now, the distances disappear. So our conversation group where people used to come here, we now have, somebody from Paris joining us or somebody from San Francisco. We have a weekly radio show that we do on Zoom. And instead of people going to the station, which is in River West, we can actually interview people in Paris and Canada, in, Chicago, et cetera. So it's really broken down barriers. And I think what's happening now is, we're going through 3 dramatic events. The COVID-19, and it's global. I mean, it's hitting every single country. The financial crisis is also hitting every single country, and the race, the race discussions that we're having, and it's really interesting. It's very American, the discussion we're having here, but it's also happening in France with their colonial history. In Belgium, they're toppling down statues because of their colonial histories. It's coming up in French-speaking African countries. And I think what's interesting is to see how different places are dealing with it. And there's always, the discussion just becomes a whole lot richer.
Steph, you've been a part of so many culture productions. I know we've collaborated on events before, back in your Brady Street days. One of the events almost bankrupted us, the said music tour. But that was still one of the events I want to bring back. But you've just been a part of so many different things that bring people together. Have you been working on anything that you would reveal some of it in Shorewood, like if and when we can be in person again? I shouldn't say if, but when we can be in person again, is there something you're working on or what you want to see created?
Well, I haven't really thought about the creation of new events quite yet, just because literally, like,
you can privately message me if you have,
okay.
if you have one.
It's been such a weird time because literally like a month after I started, I was then actually working with the village to try to write an emergency grant program. So we were actually able to pull that off. We worked with the village CDA who suspended their facade grant program, and we were able to divert all those dollars, $300,000 to 92 businesses in our district. So we've been, that the focus has been so on like, let's make sure we're not losing businesses and that sort of thing. I see a huge opportunity for Feast just to be really an amazing coming together of all people, all cultures, races, ethnic backgrounds, everything. And we may not be able to do that this year, obviously, but I see a lot of opportunity, and people are just ready to get together and celebrate community. And, really, if we have to wait until next year, which is looking like, then everybody's really going to be geared to get together and just celebrate everything, so.
Steph, I love what you're saying, because what else other than food and beverage, Tink, are the great equalizers? They're the great equalizers of people from every different background, every different age or whatever. And if we can use that as a tool here in Shorewood to support diversity, more power to us.
Pat, what do you think the biggest challenge of Shorewood? We talked a lot about the successes and all these good things going on. What do you think the biggest challenge is?
I think the biggest challenge is for all of us in Shorewood is to clearly see all the people and their expertise and all the potential here, and to optimistically look at it and say to ourselves, what are the wants, what are the needs, and how do we look at the wants and needs and fine tune what we think is the marketplace of the future.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
definitely.
Tink, what would you say your clientele is? So on soccer game days, is it different than like, dinner time? Do you guys see a lot of families? Is it more college kids? Like what do you guys, obviously when we were dining in too?
Yeah, so funny you mentioned that. One of the big key points about our business plan or our vision, the reason why Shorewood fits so well, going back to what we talked about earlier, was that we tried to open up a pub that was kind of open to all the community. It was supposed to be a place where you could hang out, be the second living room. So we get the 5-year-old children to the 95-year-old guy, sitting there just having a whiskey and then a water, and then he goes home. So we get it all. Soccer's a little different because there's still the different crowds that haven't fully got to it yet, but it seems like we're getting a great range of everybody. And when the women play, the women that come in, they're crazy. So they're the ones to watch out for. They really get into it. So it's great. We get people from all walks of life, different cultures, different ethnicities, and they're also something that can come together and watch as a group where you believe you belong.
And I think the proximity to UWM just makes the community very international. So you have a lot of professors and a lot of students who also live in some of the apartments. That just adds to the richness of the community.
Yeah, we've talked off and on about the kind of the community. And I'd like to dive more into that. Like, what is the makeup of it? Because it is, at some point, at one point, you really can't tell the difference between if you're in Milwaukee or Shorewood until you really get to, like, for my eyes, the commercial zone, and then obviously the housing stock starts to change from high density apartments, like on the east side, or like east side party houses into Shorewood. Talk about like the makeup, if you guys know the makeup of businesses and people, and is it a lot of students?
Well,
anybody can answer that, sir.
Yeah, a lot of the students I see would be maybe graduate international students who are a little bit older, so not really the party.
Not me.
Party type.
Yeah, dear.
You can tell a lot about Shorewood by observing who's on the street, who's walking in the central business district. There's a tremendous amount of international diversity there. However, you can also tell if you have a porch. I have a porch and I live on a street that is a natural feed to Lake Drive. And I am continually impressed by a couple of things. The number of dogs in Shorewood. We have 13,000 people. I suspect we have 5,000 dogs. And families and extended families, like grandparents walk with parents, walk with strollers and kids, of all different backgrounds. So although if you go on the website, it doesn't really show ethnic diversity because that's based on a census, so much has changed and is continuing to change that you just see, if you observe, you see the diversity.
Mhm.
Awesome. And then in the community, could you guys each go around and give like one or two like local leaders, people you look to, you follow, you think are like kind of on the front lines of the Shorewood community advocating for it?
Well, what and this is pretty recent, what I'm completely amazed by is the youth, and especially in the Black Lives Matter, the way they're speaking and reciting poetry and singing and leading the movements. And then a few months ago, the gun violence and everything that was happening. So I am so impressed by the young people of Shorewood.
And you're talking like high school age and middle school age, correct?
High school and middle school, yeah.
I'm impressed by the deans, Karen and Bob Dean. I especially like their commitment to history because I think if you study the past, you understand the present and you can see the future. I also think Diane Buck and Dick Eschner, who are the co-chairs of public health, have contributed their time and have been absolutely tireless in promoting art. And art ties the youth that Ann is talking about. It ties all ages and it differentiates Shorewood.
Steph or Tink?
Well,
Tink.
she might not like this one, but actually, she's on my screen right now. So kind of really impressed with Steph stepping into that position that she's taken. And never, I know, I didn't mean to say it, but it's like, obviously she's helping with businesses, so that's huge for me personally, as well as everyone around us. And, you know, she gets back to you within seconds on email, phone, whatever it is, and puts through the economic disaster loan appeal and just, you know, so far, Steph, thank you, well done. So appreciate you.
I agree.
So for me, it's just been really great to meet the board members. We have just a really cool, diverse board, people who have not only, you know, have businesses in the area, but some who just, you know, they live there, they work there, they play there. And it's just fun to learn about what makes each of their experiences unique in the district. So I've been just really impressed with just working with them and love the ideas and just, I'm ready to keep going, so.
What about some of the, you know, other small business owners that are maybe starting things or have been there forever? Are there anything, you know, for people that are, because there's some people I know that RSVP'd that were from Stevens Point, you know, they probably have never been to Shorewood, or maybe they were from there and they're trying to relive the past or something. But what are some of the other business owners that are unique in the area?
Well, I love my street because it's me, and then it's Clicks that has urban streetwear, and then it's Positronic tattoo shop, and then the surf shop. And I feel that's, and in between there's Ameritech or AT&T. But I just feel like it's a great combination, and so like non-Shorewood, but it totally fits. So,
Anyone else?
It's a little difficult for me because I feel like the north side of Shorewood seems to be a lot newer. There's a lot more moved in recently over the last 10 years. You know, back to Wick's liquor store and the village pub, and now obviously got Bonobo and Cloud Red and Draft and Vessel. And it's just fantastic. Collective all and that, and Nana, of course, and us. We've got that fantastic set of new businesses. I say new, I guess, anywhere between 4 and 10 years old, but so it's a little different for me around where we are.
Although, speaking of where you are, Tink, I love the fact that due to Three Lions, your street was coined Kensington Square.
Mhm.
So you really added to the international. And every time I go in there, I just like to listen to you talk. With that English
we
accent.
did make a huge.
It's so authentic.
We did make a huge push to keep calling it Kensington Square in every article, every press release, anything we wrote, just because it's kind of a cool name for the area, I guess. Well, thank you.
Love it.
Yeah. So I guess my follow-up to that then is what we talked about some of the new businesses. Can you talk about some of the new, it's like some of the under 5 years, I guess, is new to me that have come in the neighborhood that might not have been there a long time, that are like promising and hopeful. And it doesn't have to be just be a retail business too. It could be some things that you might not see from the street.
Well, Cloud Red.
Yeah.
They're probably under 4, yeah.
And I
And they're
think-
doing really well.
Yeah, and all the wellness
Yep.
things seem pretty new. Movement and Crux and
Orange Theory.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Trying to
And
think of
Orange Theory is a really great example of a chain or a national thing that really lends itself well to a small town neighborhood atmosphere. It works, it fits.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we've got performance running in now, the spin cycle place next door as well. So they've only been open maybe 18 months. And see a lot of people going in there.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'll ask this question next. Is it still too early to talk about the design of the pick and save? Because I know that was always been like a hot button topic in the community.
Well, in terms of design, let me put it this way. All things evolve. And things evolve because of need, and they just sink. So I think it will be interesting to see how a 2-story store without an escalator, fares in the future, what food people are buying or not buying, and to see where it goes.
Okay, I was hoping that wasn't too soon. I think it's
That was
been,
super
but-
neutral, Pat. Good job.
Do you guys have any questions of each other? I'm curious, because I don't know how often you get together or see each other. I know, Steph, you're probably always, your job is to really drive business to the community.
Yeah, well, so Ann's on our board. Pat
Okay.
is going to be on a new nonprofit foundation that we're going to set up in conjunction with the board. Tink and I just talk regularly just because it's fun.
So you guys are talking all the time. Okay. Cool. Well, I think that we have 5 minutes left here. And again, if you have any questions from, I can also field some from Facebook Live, but if you have any questions, there's a Q&A function there, and we can kind of open it up to any questions that you might have that you want to type in there, or you can even post them in the chat.
Can we ask Ginger a question? Is Ginger?
She's not on right now. No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I guess, one final question here to kind of close it down is, a lot of what we've talked about today is about people being in person again. In the meantime, a lot of things have pivoted. Can anybody talk about their personal experience and what they've done to pivot in their own business, if anything?
Well, I can really quickly share that since we couldn't do our bike races this year, the bid was really feeling kind of sad, and we all felt like we were stuck in a funk. So we booked the Funk Club wagon, came through last Friday, which is musicians on the back of a trailer. And it was like to celebrate the end of school, the beginning of summer. And that ended up, and it was also live streamed, and that stream was viewed like almost 7,000 times. And it was just like so much fun. It was a bummer that, you know, we couldn't just have a band in the middle of the street and do that whole thing. But I feel like this was kind of the next best thing, and people loved it. They came out of their houses to walk behind it, to dance, to cheer. So, you know, if we can't gather anytime soon, we're going to continue to try to pull off some fun virtual events through the district. So.
And I think this pandemic has made us all Zoom experts, and I had never done Facebook Live, but I followed the funk wagon, and I feel like I've, you know, progressed, you know, decades ahead in my tech skills. So that's been great. And we have 95-year-olds who Zoom with us now. So where everybody's learning how to use technology.
Mm-hmm. Which is a great example of pivoting. We've pivoted how we've behaved with the world and other people. And the question that I keep asking myself is, regardless of how long this lasts, how will it evolve? You know, we started out with Zoom. Now, where is it going? And are we going to loosen up? Are we going to feel more comfortable meeting in person, or what?
It's going to go back to AOL chat rooms.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
What happened to Skype?
True. Good question.
And Tink, obviously the restaurant industry has been pretty hard. What have you been, you know, how have you obviously carry out and take out, but
yeah,
is there anything else that you've noticed?
I think people are getting a lot technologically advanced. I mean, all the orders are coming in online over the phone. They know when to set their order. They can do contactless payment now. So there's a couple of things that we're pushing people into a different comfort element or comfort zone that they weren't there before. So I think we've all learned a few different extra techniques. Us as a business adapted just systems and logistically setting up how we have to deal with carry out, but with being a bigger chunk and blocking up phone. I mean, it's just as stupid and simple as having extra phone lines, seeing call waiting, setting the throttle speeds when people can order online, so you don't get 20 orders all at the same hour.
That's the dial-up for the AOL. You need the phone line.
Thank you. I have to give you guys a shout out because you guys did a hard pivot and you were selling hand sanitizer, toilet paper, like you guys were selling everything. You're like, we're setting this stuff up, we're gonna just keep going.
You sell Marmite?
No, we don't. No, we haven't got Marmite in. I can probably get that for you, but we don't have Marmite in at the moment.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for this time. I feel like I've learned so much about Shorewood. Now I have to come down this Friday for some fish and chips, even if it is a carry out. But and thanks to North Shore Bank for, you know, like we started all these programs during COVID and, you know, about connecting community, telling community stories and fostering connection, and they kind of stepped up and said, we want to support this financially. So we appreciate them. We appreciate Ginger for supporting these programs. I think the next week we're doing Washington Park. So that will be, and we're kind of just profiling different people in different neighborhoods and letting people hear stories. So, or the week after, sorry.
They're definitely building up that area too. It's actually,
yeah.
I like Washington
So
Park.
that would be the week after, right, Rita? Rita's posting in the chat. I said one date and Rita is saying a different date.
It's July 1st.
July 1st. So that's 2 weeks. Okay. Close enough. If you sign up for our newsletter, you will get the accurate information because I do not write the newsletter. So thank you everybody for your time. I appreciate it. This will be recorded. We'll be sending it out, and appreciate again all your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.